to give you strength? Who are people? What are your favorite activities? Source of Strength is a program that really uses peer leaders to go out and try to change social norms and climates across whole populations of young people, of adolescents, teenagers, and we use peer leaders to do that. They go out friend to friend and spread messages of hope, spread messages of strength and help.
Source of Strength has really made me gain an appreciation for the role that local teens and local adults that may not be mental health professionals, may not be counselors, can have in making a significant impact in their community. We are never going to train enough mental health professionals and counselors that can address every underlying problem and risk factor that are out there in communities, particularly in a lot of underserved communities. And by developing, as Source of Strength has, an effective, replicable training and support model to prepare really local teens and adults to take on some of that important prevention role.
A lot of our kids are struggling with issues that make them feel overwhelmed. And Sources of Strength focuses on finding your strengths, because feeling overwhelmed, feeling stressed out is something that everyone experiences throughout their lives. And what we try to do is teach the kids healthy ways of dealing with stress and healthy ways of dealing with those feelings of being overwhelmed.
It's just helped deal with stress, because I've had a lot of stress buildups, and it helps me relax because I know I've helped many other people and that there's many other people out there like me.
I think Sources of Strength is unique in the fact that it's a positive program. It's uplifting. It deals with the strengths that you have around you instead of the negatives.
What we know about youth suicide prevention is oftentimes there is very incorrect messaging or very harmful messaging that comes across, or sometimes messaging that is just not able to be understood by youth. I think with a program like Sources of Strength, you get this very easy sort of foundation. You get some facts along with the process. You get the power to sort of create this program around it, and it allows you to sort of fold in additional information while giving your youth sort of a foundation to stand on.
The Sources of Strength program is a program that builds really trust and leadership, takes students and empowers them.
There's basically 6 steps to Source of Strength. The first is getting school, community, or administration buy-in for running a comprehensive program like Source of Strength. The second is making sure that we have protocol in place to help emotionally distressed young people, teens or young adults, and especially if they're suicidal, we want to make sure that there's a process in place to handle them. The third one is to recruit, train, and support the right adult advisors, those adult advisors that have caring, connected relationally, and are positive people that can empower peer leaders. The fourth one is to get a diverse group of peer leaders, to recruit them and train them. The fifth step is for the adult advisors and the peer leaders to begin meeting on a regular basis, usually a couple times a month, and to go out and do a whole series of messaging activities that spread messages throughout their whole school or community. The sixth is to evaluate what's been working and to expand and grow, to bring in new adult advisors and peer leaders as needed for each school or community group.
Source of Strength is in the model aimed not only at addressing the needs of students who may be in crisis to help connect them to natural as well as formal helping resources, but it's also to increase the number of students that have adults that they're in connection with, because we know that's an important protective factor. You know, having an adult mentor or positive relationships with an adult is associated with not only lower likelihood of being at risk for suicide, but also strengthens other kinds of protective processes that lead to school engagement, lead to lower likelihood of other sorts of emotional and behavioral problems.
The results have shown that we were able to break down codes of silence, increase perceptions of adult support, increase acceptability of seeking help.
Source of strength, adult advisors play a really powerful part in mentoring and supporting the peer leaders. And there's three characteristics that are kind of the critical ones. One is that they're connected relationally with peer leaders. The other is that they're really caring and that the peer leaders really feel that. And the third one is that they really are positive people, that they kind of carry the positivity with them that empowers young people to go out and do what they need to do in this program.
Adult advisors are there to be there for the students. We want to interact, we want to be visible, we want students to know that we can be trusted to come to when they have something to share of concern, whether that concern is for themselves, for their parents, for their peers, but we want to be mostly visible and accessible. We want the students to feel comfortable coming to us, and we want to be involved in their lives, being able to communicate, start conversations, and know that those students will come to us when they're struggling.
Anyone can go to the adult advisors. It just gives an extra viewpoint because you can go to a teenager, but teenagers haven't necessarily experienced all the things that the other kids have done in their lives, and so sometimes it's nice to actually be able to go to an adult and get good wisdom, help from an adult who has already experienced this possibly.
And we're using peers and training peers to be able to just really be the eyes and ears and heart and soul of our school and be connected to all corners of the building. And then we're having those peers then work with trusted adults in the building. And so then we build these wonderful relationships, this wonderful prevention relationship between the students in the building and trusted adults in the building.
Source of Strength has peer leader teams going in middle school, high school, college, university, community, cultural groups, as well as faith-based groups. And these peer teams can go out and spread hope, help, strength messages, and they adapt those messages to kind of fit their culture.
It allows for such flexibility for not only adult advisors, but for staff who are considering using this program to be able to sort of fold their youth populations into it, as well as it provides those youth with flexibility to have creativity, to bring their own ideas, their own strengths into the program and make it something that they know will work within their own communities.
Sources of Strength works in any environment. It can be a large environment, it can be small scale. I think that for faith-based organizations, high schools, any organization, the values, the tools that are coming from Sources of Strength, it can go anywhere, any culture, and be effective.
Source of Strength uses a diverse group of peer leaders that kind of represent every clique and group in a school or community or a campus. And so they go into their friendship groups and try to spread messages and have an impact that can change social norms, change climate across a whole population.
We've also found that peer leader groups that are more diverse also is making a difference. Not merely recruiting students that are involved in a lot of things, but also those students that may be not very involved and maybe representing more distant and edgy kinds of groups.
We bring kids from all different social groups into this program, and they might not be involved in other things, and might not normally be engaged in the school community. When they get the letter in the mail, they're like, "Oh, I've been nominated to be in this," and they realize, "Wow, this means something to me," and we're all alike, and that's what I like about the training. It's really special, and it makes them want to go out and tell other people about it.
You have to, I think, be comfortable with the idea that some of your peer leaders are not necessarily, they're going to be some of your edgier students from time to time because they're leading their groups and you're trying to get kind of connected with everybody. So, that's a real key thing, and I think it's a challenge because a lot of times those kids don't necessarily want to step up and lead, but you need them. You need to be able to reach those groups of kids.
One of the most effective things, and what I've seen that makes it different than other peer leader programs, is that we really strive to reach every peer group in the school. So our program is full of diversity, and for some of these kids, it's the first time they've ever been asked to do anything or even been recognized as a leader. and it makes it a really, really unique experience. And then it goes back into the school where all the peer groups are being touched and affected.
You know, in the beginning of the session, there was a couple of young men who, you know, you could tell they were sitting in a corner by themselves, and you know, they didn't really want to be a part of it. But at the end of the training, they were the first ones to volunteer to put the chairs away, and you know, they made posters, you know, and they were real positive, strength-based posters, and I don't think they would have done that if they didn't go through the training.
The most important thing in having effective action steps is making sure that the youth have ownership of those action steps. So you have to start from a place of where youth actually choose what it is that they want to do, and that not only do they choose, but they then create the plan around how that happens. I think adults definitely and other staff members need to be there to provide the support, but it has to be something that they feel they can do, that they want to do, and that they will do.
It's not a one-shot assembly type program. We're coming in and we're working with them for a semester or for a school year, but then we're also trying to sustain that program over multiple years. So we're coming back in year 2 and we're working in year 3.
The other thing I like about it is we do get assistance on this from outside. It's not all completely in here. We've got people coming in and helping us periodically throughout the year. You need some of those different voices from time to time. It can't always be the same people saying the same things. I think it's good when our students and our staff hear it from people outside.
The Sources of Strength program would be great for any school, any community, just because of the positive energies that it brings, the creative ideas from the students, the connections that the students make with their peers, with their families, with their friends, certainly with the staff, and the staff in turn makes connections with them. It builds the relationships and fosters hope for the future, and it creates a caring environment that allows people to feel understood, allows them to feel valued, and you know, the positiveness of it, it permeates the things that we do, and allows you know, the community to respect the students more, and I just can't say enough good about it.
A program that can address the priorities of the schools, their primary educational mission, as well as the mission of enhancing well-being of students is an important and potentially a wise investment for communities to make.
In our schools where Sources of Strength has been implemented for several years, I've seen it change the complete culture of the school.